I've got Knut Forstad, right?
Yep.
Knut Forstad, the CEO of the Volvo Ocean Race, who dropped into town here to do a seminar for Volvo car dealers, as well as just sort of meet the press and talk about developments in the Volvo Ocean Race. Knut, nice to meet you. Welcome to the Sailing Anarchy on the Water Anarchy Report. I know there's some good stuff going on in the Volvo. It's been a little scary, I think, for maybe some of you with very few entrants and a new course and stuff, but I know a new Irish entry, we put a little rumor up a few weeks ago about it, and it looks confirmed. So you guys are up to 8 entries now?
Yeah, I mean, officially it's very hard to say where we are. There are always teams that are late. There's some teams that are still working actually to make it, and you don't know exactly before you're on the start line.
Right.
But officially it's 7. But O'Rourke he's as official as he'd like to be himself. That's what I can give you as the best answer. Obviously, I'm very pleased about that. He's making very good progress.
And it seems that O'Rourke is almost like it's almost like a Corinthian entry. It's an older boat. It may not be competitive, certainly with the newer boats, but
we will see.
We will see.
We will see about that. I mean, it's. I have some ideas about the second-hand boats in the race. I think that's very important for the future of this event. It's very clear to me that to grow the Volvo Ocean Race, we cannot only depend on teams building new boats every time. So obviously you would like boats to do at least 2 races, and I'm absolutely sure about the next edition of the Volvo Ocean Race. When that will be announced, it will be announced with something taking care of the fact that we want to see more old boats in the race.
What are some ideas? How do you encourage people to enter with an old boat?
Well, we're looking at it at the moment. I mean, there's many ways of doing that. You can tweak the rules a little bit, so it could be a slight advantage to some old boats. It could be that when the new rules have to be little, for example, smaller on the bulbs and things like that. It could be small tweaks. You can never compensate everything. And at the same time, you should be allowed to modify an old boat. So you have to play that carefully. But I think it's one of the essential challenges we have in this sport is when the boats get bigger. They become obsolete too quick, and it's too expensive. So we definitely see a future in keeping boats racing more than one race, and we also believe that as the rule makes more evolution, the differences in the generations are getting smaller. And I'm not so sure if ABN is not competitive anymore. We will see about that.
Well, I mean, being that it's likely to be maybe a lighter air race with the South China Sea and so on and so forth, without the big Southern Ocean pieces, I don't know. Who knows how competitive she'll be.
Also, with the new format we have of the import races, we're going to introduce an import race where we have gates in the middle of the import race course, which basically puts more emphasis on positioning of the boats and a little bit less emphasis on the speed, the actual boat speed, which means any boat can have it today. Really.
It's an interesting concept. I think we'll be excited to see it.
Yeah, absolutely.
What about obviously you're here to help Volvo out, and they're a great supporter of racing in general, and certainly Volvo, and here at the Melges 24 World Championship.
Yep.
What more could we do as media people, as racers, to sort of make sure that they know that their money is being well spent, and that they should help support more and more events?
Well, I think one of the big ambitions I have is regarding the media coverage, because I think there is so much that has to be told that hasn't been told. There is so much of what's happening on board these boats that has never reached the general audience. And at least we have to make sure the sailing audience really is attracted to our race. They really have interest in coverage, not only all traditional 6-hour reports. It's boring after a while. We want to know why people are making decisions. How did they make the decisions? We want to see the decisions being made. And I think the thing we have done this time by introducing a media crew member on the boats, it has a massive potential. I hope I will, in 10 years' time, look back at that and say that was the smartest thing we did in sailing. Well, it's going to be challenging, but it's. I think it's a great idea, and I think obviously we're here. Sailing Anarchy created this live coverage that we do, and we sort of created it out of thin air. Yep.
And it's a way for people to get in the heads of exactly what's going on the course without the TV budgets and without the helicopters and everything else. I know that the last time around there was good stuff from the boats, but it wasn't really cohesive, and it wasn't a story.
No.
It was little snippets here and there, but there was no story.
No.
So how do those media crew members get trained or vetted or whatever so that they do it the right way, or who edits it, or how does that work?
Well, it's I guess the thinking to start with the media crew member was to have a cameraman being trained to live on board a boat. Very quickly we realized, and especially with my experience from having sailed the boats, that's not possible. So we're going the other way. We're going to take a professional offshore sailor, and the teams are going to recruit them themselves. They're going to be trained professional sailors, then being trained to be professional cameramen as well. And we're starting a program for that from our side, how to support these guys and make sure they learn how to operate and what questions to ask, how to get them. And we're not going to succeed with everything right away. I think I look at it a bit like I met a guy in England some months ago who was instrumental in getting the big climbing movies, the mountain climbing movies on the screens. And you know, someday someone realized that to be able to make a proper film from a Mount Everest expedition, somebody has to climb and film. And that's the same thing we have here. To get the proper coverage, somebody has to sail, live on board the boats, and be able to report from the boats. And I'm not. There's 100 reasons why this is going to be difficult, because it's challenging to live on the Volvo 70 for 9 months and not being able to contribute to the sailing and only be there as a cameraman. But at the same time, if we double the content of what we could have last time, we've done a big step. But I think we're here compared to.
I don't know. I tell you, I don't know that the content, that the video content, is as much of an issue as how it's presented. You know?
Exactly.
And I think I've seen how it's been focused so much on cameramen. I think something that you should keep in mind that I thought about when I first contacted Kostecki a year ago about this thing is you need storytellers too.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think maybe it's more like a war reporter than a cameraman we're talking
exactly
about.
Right.
And definitely what we want, we're not so concerned if the picture is aligned with the horizon. What we're concerned about, that the story that we can tell is something that you can, you know,
well,
whatever
maybe you need to train sailors who are writers to be cameramen.
Yeah. Absolutely, that's very possible, and for us, I think the fact that we're not looking for professional cameramen at all, we're looking for sailors who wants to report the story and wants to become stars by doing that.
I need to make sure to give you a business card.
Yeah.
Here's another question.
Do that.
The last time around, Glenn, I think over at Sailing Anarchy, we felt that Glenn ignored us. Now,
really?
We never got anything, never a press release, never any calls, never anything, and even when we called it, we didn't get a good response. And you know, Sailing Anarchy has a reputation for being the place it is, but we have the biggest community by far of sailors around the world. I walk here as soon as I got into town, and the Italians all knew who I was just from Sailing Anarchy. So we have 350,000 plus unique IPs every month going on Sailing Anarchy. They're all sailors. How will you help tap into that group and make it really enjoyable for our membership to follow the Volvo?
Well, I think the simplest answer to that is to share everything we can share with you. And I think from my side, I'm very, very open to that. I guess coming from my background, I've also said that my priorities going into this race is first of all to conquer and satisfy and motivate the sailing audience before any other audience. I don't believe you can win anything before you win on your home turf, and that's my first priority in anything. And I think you will see some pretty big changes in how we present the race when you come to the start in Alicante, because rather than thinking that our audience doesn't know what sailing is, so we should make it extremely simple and only stupid, I'm doing the opposite, because I believe that most people, even though they're not professional sailors, they want to learn, they want to get involved, they want to understand, and the more they understand, the more they get hooked. It's a bit like soccer in Europe. There is a million soccer experts sitting in the sofas who can't even kick a ball, but they know a lot about soccer in small, specific technical details. And so when it comes to channels like Sailing Anarchy, I mean, they're most important for me.
All right. Well, we'll look forward to that, and maybe we'll chat with you a few times in the next few months and chat more. And good luck with it. Okay.
Good luck with your stuff.
Thanks, man.